certainly an advantage in that it went along with being born someone whose muscle mass is going to be so much greater.
Yeah.
And testosterone and, I mean, we are so through the looking glass on just this whole issue of pretending that male and female athletes are somehow peers. They're not. I mean, I may have talked about this on this podcast before, but it just obsesses me because it's my refutation to the people who say, "Oh, Bill, when you go on about wokeness, it's just a little fringe. It's not a fringe. It's not just a few people, because this was in the Atlantic. That's one of like a very major publication, a very mainstream major publication, very respected. And they printed an article, and the title of the article was, Separating Sports by Sex Doesn't Make Sense. But it does. And there is like sentences in this article that you would swear this is just a parody in The Onion. Like, we don't know why, we don't know if men are stronger than women, but if they are, we'd have to find out if it's because of nature or because of socialization. Yeah, that's what it is. They're trying to put through this idea that these differences are not innate.
Right.
It's very similar to what's going on with, gender and sexuality. Like, well, you're born a boy or a girl. Maybe that's not right. Maybe it's how you socialize, and that's what the difference between gender and sex is. With this big debate we're having about that. But when it comes to athletics, it's just so plain that we're just different. It's not sexist to say that.
No, we should ask the Atlantic if we should separate the Paralympics versus the Olympics, or if we should have heavyweight boxers competing against featherweights. Are we fat shaming? Are we fat shaming the heavyweights?
Right.
No, we do this for a reason.
Yes,
Yeah, I mean that's the craziest thing I've literally ever heard. I mean, same thing. You don't have 18 and unders competing against 12 and unders, right? I mean, these divisions that we have in sports, they're there for safety or for fairness.
Not to go back into history lessons
Give it to me.
In the 1970s, but just before Jimmy Carter became president, like in 1972, Nixon was president. They passed something, and I'm sure you're aware of it, Title IX.
Yes, absolutely.
And Title IX, again, this is an example of how the wokeness they have their heads so far up their ass, they don't realize that they're anti-liberal. Title IX was specifically passed so that women would have an equal shot in sports.
Absolutely.
And that the colleges had to devote equal resources to women's sports. They're just as important as men. This was like a big liberal victory, as it should be. And then they throw this guy in the pool?
And it's
like so through the looking glass.
Certainly, and we've seen this entire original first wave, second wave, even feminist movement shifted. I mean, even in the U.S. House of Representatives, we had this fall entirely on party lines when Representative Greg Steube introduced the Protection of Fairness in Women and Girls in Sports Act.
Now you gotta school me. I don't know who this guy is. You gotta hit me up on the hearings. Tell me what you're talking about.
Representative Steube. He is
a congressman?
Yes.
From where?
Actually don't recall where he's from.
Republican?
Yes.
Republican. Republican.
Yes.
Okay.
He
was on your side.
He's on my side.
Somehow,
and by my side, I mean women.
Right.
I mean truth. Again, he was on the side of the truth and science and logic and common sense and reasoning.
Right.
Yeah, he was on our side.
This is why I just want to kick these Democrats sometimes. You're on the wrong side here, you fucking dummies. I thought you were the party that supports women. Anyway, go ahead with your story.
He introduced, on the House side, the Protection of Fairness in Women's and Girls in Sports Act.
Wow, there's a mouthful.
I know, totally. And this bill, it passed, but it fell entirely on party lines, meaning that all 203 Democrats, all of them, every single one of them, keep in mind these are parents who have young daughters and young sons, all 203 voted in opposition of protecting women and girls in sports. So yeah, we've seen this feminist. I mean, think of the Me Too movement. Think of the women who burn their bras and the free the nipple. We're seeing this flip entirely on its head.
I mean, it's mind-boggling. And I have been accosted once or twice with someone saying, and I've also heard this many other places, that as a heterosexual man.
Hey, thanks for watching the clip. Hit the subscribe button now so you never miss out on our Club Random content that's posted daily.